Do you care to tell us any of your problems, or?
Well, I'd rather not be talking about Jethrine in a place like this. But I could tell you about my day.
Well, I'll sit down here and listen to your sad story.
You know what? I wrote it all down because I knew you were going to be here tonight, and I wanted to make sure I got everything right, perfect. Nobody knows the trouble I seen today, which makes sense because I ain't even told anybody yet. It all started off this morning. Jethro, you better get out to that field before the boss gets back, the wife kept saying. I tell you, all that nagging was getting on my nerves, and there ain't no trouble like a nagging wife, especially when it ain't even your wife that's doing the nagging. Yeah, it was the boss's wife who was talking like that. Jethro, you better get out to that field before the boss gets back. That's what she just kept on telling me over and over and over again. It was really causing me stress, I tell you. But considering it was the boss's wife, I figured I better get going and work that field like the boss wanted me to do last week already. So I wander out to the tractor, and guess what happens next? That's right.
You'd been better off not to go to work that week.
I tried not to, but I had to that day. Anyways, nothing happened. The tractor just sat there and doing nothing. And get going, what's your problem anyway? I boiled you up and cup and all and that tractor. I tell you, no matter how much I kicked and yelled at that tractor, it didn't do nothing. It was nothing but trouble. Well, the day was dragging on and I was getting madder and madder. I knew the boss was going to get back at any minute, and I better be working when he showed up. I just didn't know what I was going to do, though. Well, finally, you know what I decided? I should stop kicking the tires and yelling in German and turn the key in the ignition. And you know what? I turned the key in the ignition and that tractor starts right off. Just goes to show you they don't make machinery like they used to. Well, with the tractor running, we started racing off from the field. We were quite the sight. The tractor was smoking black and bouncing over molehills and cattails. You wouldn't believe the sounds them cats made when we were riding over their tails. But I just put down that plow and started breaking up that song. I tell you, we made some good headway for about 5 minutes. Then, wouldn't you know, we ran into a slough, and just like that, I got a sudden sinking feeling, if you know what I mean. I knew I was in deep trouble. I jumped out there into the mud and started yelling again. Get moving. What's the problem? I tell you, with all the trouble I'd had, I was fed up. But all that yelling didn't get me out of that mud hole neat. I just didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't want the boss to see me out there in that slough. I felt like giving up hope. Then I saw the neighbor driving along. I started jumping up and down and waving my arms. And you know what? The neighbor came over there with his tractor, hooked up his chain, and started getting ready to pull me out of that slough. I tell you, we were revving them engines, wheels were spinning, mud was flying all over Manitoba. And you know what? At the end of all that rigmarole, all we ended up with were 2 stuck tractors.
Oh.
That neighbor was pretty mad, I tell you. What were you doing in my field anyway? He was yelling at me. Frankly, I was shocked at his attitude. He was acting like he owned the place. You really think this here's your field, I told him? I know this is my field. The field you're supposed to be working on is over there. You know, funny thing, turned out I was in so much a rush to get on out there, I drove into the wrong field. Yeah, like I said, nobody knows the trouble I've seen today. But I guess now you know. And you know what? It was your tractor I got stuck out there.
My tractor?
Yeah, you weren't You weren't home, so I thought I'd take your tractor, seeing as you weren't using it anyways.
You leave me speechless.
Well, you know what? I think you got me convinced. You're telling me we should have a different kind of thinking. You know, think what I think. With all the trouble I had today, there's one good thing in all this. Tomorrow's another day.
That's right, Jethro. And if
Yeah.
you ever really need someone to talk to, give me a call at 204-797-1230.
And if anybody needs even more trouble in their life, you feel free to give me a call. You look for Jethro Barnswallow in the phone book.